Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What is going on, everybody? Thanks for being with us right here. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. Down in JJ's neck of the woods. By the way, they don't do parks like this up where I live.
Why
I mean,
not?
look, Fruit Heights is a wonderful place. I love what they do up in Fruit Heights. This is like next level park over here in Riverton. I've never... Listen, your people, I don't know if you pay extra taxes, JJ.
Oh, I'm sure we
Congrats.
do. I'm sure we do.
It's a beautiful location, man.
I helped build this park, and I didn't even know it. No,
Well,
I have no idea.
Well, here's the deal. I drove around the park, and I was like, I came into the park grounds, and they're like, you're still 7 minutes away. I was like, wow.
That's not good when you pull into the park at Google Maps and you still have 10 minutes on your journey.
Because I'm like seeing all these buildings, and I'm going, what is going on here? Like, what are you guys doing down here? Beautiful location here, Riverton City Park. That's all. That's what it is, right?
Yep.
Riverton City Park. We are celebrating what we are hoping. We're all crossing our fingers. We're all putting the look. The Olympic Committee does things a different way. JJ, you know what they do? They require you to show them. We're out here tap dancing, man. We are tap dancing for the Olympics. That's essentially what's going on out here. Now, I don't know if it's in the bag, but it feels like it is. It feels like there's a lot. It feels like it's also the worst kept secret on the planet.
Yeah, it's the worst kept secret in sports.
So I
can't.
can't put a last minute bet down. I can't throw some Skittles down on whether or not Salt Lake.
I bet you're not going to get very good.
You lose money.
Vegas is not going to lose that bet with
That's
you.
what I'm saying. Like if I went to a, do you guys have sports books down here in Riverton?
I'm sure we do. There's probably some guy named Vinny
Craig.
down on 126
Oh,
South.
yeah.
Who runs a quote tax service.
Oh no! What it is he's running a. He's running one of those. No, it's a fireworks stand this time of year. You know,
He does taxes in April, and the rest of the year he's
1,000%.
taking people's cheddar.
Look, so we've got the Olympic rings down here, and so what we're doing is we're busting out the Olympic rings. And if you've never seen the Olympic rings before, this is what are they? How big are these? The officially, I mean, they're 10 foot long.
They're pretty giant. Yeah, come get your picture
8
taken
feet
with
high.
them.
We're asking the public to come down. We're doing some. We're doing some face painting. We're not. You and I are not. It would be a disaster.
by the time our time here is done, we will probably have paint on our faces.
Well, I'm saying we're not doing the face painting, which is good for.
That's true.
Which is good for everybody who's coming down.
if
Actual
you
face
got
painters.
face painting done, what are you going to choose?
Now, I'd probably do the Mike Tyson tattoo. You know me. I'm that guy who I'm rooting for Iron Mike when he takes on Jake Paul. That's its own thing, by the way. Did you notice? Conor McGregor went after. Did you see this on Twitter? Conor McGregor going after Jake Paul.
Nobody likes Jake Paul.
Listen, if Conor McGregor is the good guy in all this,
That's a problem.
You've done something wrong. He's like, why don't you fight in Vegas? Oh, wait. You're juiced up to the max, bro.
Yeah.
He straight up threw him under there. Oh, my goodness. I'm excited because, you know what? Maybe I will get the Mike Tyson by the end of this thing. Maybe I'll get a Mike Tyson face tattoo.
Hey,
I might have to show our tattoo artist. Come on down, get a tattoo. No, get your face painted here in Riverton. But we've also got we got some beverages going on.
We do. And the
Pounds
rings
of
have
water.
arrived.
The rings are here. Now they roll them in too. I feel like we would get in trouble. I don't even think you can mention John Williams without getting your hand slapped by the Olympic by the International Olympic Committee. So yes, the rings are here. I feel like we need a better entrance than this, like with you and I just walking it through the play-by-play. Here, you be the analyst. And the blue one in the lead right now,
Yeah,
JJ.
blue's going to win, by the way.
I was shocked to see that the blue one
red's not
actually
catching
took
blue.
the lead and never looked back.
Good to see there's still 5 rings, so it's still all intact.
It's all intact. And they do have kind of the look of this thing being it's still. I think this came right off of the float. And so we've got the rings here at the park in Riverton. We've got some beverages, got the face painting going on. They're also going to take pictures for you in front of the Olympic rings, and then we'll actually print that picture off for you. So we have all sorts of resources hooked up for you to be able to get the pictures with the Olympic rings. Oh, my goodness, our street team is doing some freaking heavy lifting here. Those guys are in the Olympics for some weightlifting right there.
We needed some music while they were doing that.
Joey,
pretty
Brant,
impressive.
Stone, Sean, lifting. Lou conducting it all over here. Good job, everybody. Phenomenal job. So come down to Riverton City Park. We're hanging out. We're doing the face paint thing. Basically, every station across the board is represented, and we're in the shade, so it's beautiful. It's a hot day, but you know what it is? It's beautiful in the shade. So
it's nice.
We've got lots going on here. JJ, missed you on Friday. There was so much going on. Of course, it was like as soon as Mitch Harper shows up, more Utah State drama drops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then over the weekend to hear of the passing of a teammate, like I can't imagine that this program. I mean, imagine what Nate Dreiling is having to deal with right now as a program. And I was like, I got to talk with JJ about this stuff because we haven't been able to jam about it since last Friday. And so let's jump in here. Let's talk about this and much more. Let's get things kicked off. It's not the best story to start out here with, but we're just trying to wrap our heads around everything that's going on up in Logan with Utah State and the Aggies. And let's kick things off here. Let's jump in. It's the top of the program brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. Let's kick it off with the cut right here. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. Trajan Wealth for all of your trusted local financial needs in retirement. And this is, this wasn't the first thing off the rundown. I just wanted to bring it up with you because as of Friday, we got the news that the Blake Anderson firing took full effect, and we saw some of the reports of what had kind of transpired, and he and his lawyers reached out and said, hey, here's part of what our argument is. At this point, they're also just trying to, I think, mitigate the financial loss that's going to come. This isn't I don't think that the lawyers were brought in to, for Blake Anderson for him to keep his job. I think it was more along the lines of, hey, at this point, we got to be able to recoup some of these funds because they felt like that they were shorted from the contract standpoint. And Utah State felt differently. The outside third-party investigation felt differently. And the only thing that I go to is that I feel like. So then there's Jerry Bovee too, which is also a weird one because that's a guy who's like, no, I think he would want to keep that job. Now feeling like this was done in bad faith, for all of these parties, that's a tough thing. And then on top of it, the loss of a teammate over the weekend in a tragic accident as well. I just can't. This entire team is just going through the absolute worst right now, and Nate Dreiling's got to try to pick up the pieces, and it's a hard time to try to do it because this is the time of year when you should just be 100% focused on getting ready for camp.
Well, I'll start with Andre Selden Jr., what's just horrible news, and I was actually in the station working this Saturday with Sam Farnsworth on his way to Paris, so I was learning about this situation. We had heard that there was somebody who didn't come up out of the water and was cliff jumping down up in Porcupine Reservoir up in Cache Valley.
Yeah.
No idea at that point that it was a Utah State student-athlete, and then word trickled out that it was a Utah State student-athlete, and then slowly word started trickling out of who it was and how everything that happened, and immediately I thought of the players in that locker room. I'm just like, my goodness. This group of players who give everything they got to that school and to that team, everything that they've had to deal with, it's just unbelievable. I thought of Coach Dreiling, who coached Andre at New Mexico State. And he followed him to Utah State from New Mexico State.
He was likely going to be an important piece of that defensive puzzle because it's a guy who knew he was getting with. Yeah. And that's what these defensive coordinators, when they bring guys with them, they're like, hey, we got to make hay where we're at now, and that was going to be a key piece for him.
There was going to be a key piece. He was going to be a part of their backfield on the defensive side, and it's a great loss on the football field, and it sounds like it's a great loss off the football field. We hadn't had a chance to get to know Andre yet, but people that we know in the business down in El Paso area in Las Cruces got to know him really well. He was one of the biggest personalities on that New Mexico State team that surprised a lot of people last year and had a historic year for them. I just my heart goes out to the players, his family, and then I think about Coach Dreiling, who has lost a player now that he had with him, and he's dealing with that. His wife's also battling cancer. I believe she's cancer-free at this point, but his family's been through that, and then on the pressure of all this stuff that had nothing to do with him, that he's now been thrust in this position to have to lead this team of players that's hurting, not only because of the loss of a teammate, but because of how this whole situation with the administration and their head coach has gone down. It's just one thing after another for these guys, and I'm just thinking of those players. And now we learn more information this weekend. You saw the story on KSL Sports. If you haven't, go to KSLSports.com and read it. Amy Donaldson caught up with Jerry Bovee, who was let go. He was the interim athletic director before Diana Sabo was hired.
Deputy athletic director.
And then he worked as the deputy athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
But he was open in the story, and he believes that what's really going on here is just bad blood. That bad blood between the school's new athletic director and him, and another employee who was let go. And he spelled it out there. You can go read it. Diana Sable's not here to comment on the story, so I'm not going to go any more depth than that. And in fairness, but he was very open and honest about why he thinks this all took place.
Right.
And so that's out there now. And so you have all this information and all these things, and you have Blake Anderson's lawyer throwing some stuff out there. It's just a mess, and I hate it. And I'm going to be really curious, Alex, how this group of student athletes responds, how these football players respond. Because in these situations, you can do two things. You can either quit or you can fight like crazy. Because there's no other way, right? How is this team going to respond this year? Because there's a lot of talent on that team. They've got a very experienced quarterback. They've got an all-American level receiver. The offensive line was supposed to be better. They got proven running backs. On the defensive side, that's a major question mark. But you got Ike Larson back there, and they expected to be better there. This is a team that could surprise a lot of people in the Mountain West Conference. But how do they go out there and perform with all of this stuff hanging over their heads? How are you able to focus on football when you're dealing with all of these real-life situations that are painful and difficult? It's a good question.
Let me be frank, too, about how the future of the next hire for Utah State football and, frankly, Utah State athletics goes. Because if you're looking for a gig, obviously if you're on the rise, and Utah State has always been a great landing spot. Unfortunately, though, from a timing standpoint, it's always for a short period of time. Look at your Danny Sprinkles. Look at your whether it was Blake Anderson. When Blake Anderson first won that title in the first, what was our first discussion? Was like, I don't know how long they're going to be able to hang on to this guy.
How long is he going to have? They won that first year. It's like, okay, when's he leaving?
Because of the nature of how a lot of times, and unfortunately, that's how some of these jobs in the group of five goes, and especially and when people get to Logan, what do? They go, oh, we freaking love it here. Like, this is awesome. There's an Aggie family. There's a whole thing. The problem is that you're already behind the eight ball when it comes to asking for long-term commitment from people who are coming in, who are going to say, I'm here, man. My roots are here, and I'm going to go, and we're going to go do this thing. Well, imagine at the very least, as you start to dive into a potential employer, if Utah State approaches you, if the athletic director and new administration approach you and say, hey, we are going to hire, we're looking to make a good hire here in Logan, and we feel like you're the next guy, fill in the blank. Smaller school success. That's how it works, right? You had the school with the smaller success. I mean, that was what Blake Anderson's deal was, right? He's at Arkansas State. He has this success. People see this kind of offensive mastermind and quarterback coach, and they're like, look, bring him up here. We'll make it happen. And
there was
did.
Gary Anderson the first time
Gary
around.
Anderson
Matt Wells, both of them parlayed that success into
bigger
5
jobs.
head coaching
jobs.
And
that's the thing, is that, like, it's hard to break out of a cycle like that because people look and they go, oh, this is a stepping stone job. And when you have, which is from a short-term perspective, that's an okay.
It's been working.
It's an okay model
especially
to have.
In basketball.
So now, when somebody asks themselves and their agent and their family, do we want to move here? Because look what happened to the last guy. And you might be able to say, hey, you know what? We're going to run a tight ship there. I think every coach probably has said that, right? They go, "We're going to run a tight ship. I'm running this gig, and we're gonna make sure that this thing goes, and we're going to do it right." Nobody comes in there and goes, "We're going to operate in the margins. We're going to kind of sneak behind back doors. We're going to do this thing." That's not how these guys do it. And so, if there's a coach, I don't know, maybe I'm making too much of it, but certainly when you have something like this happen, you're going to have coaches who previously would have been like, absolutely go, I don't know. We're going to weigh our options. Yeah. We're going to look at other schools. And I don't know what the perfect scenario is. Is it that Nate Dreiling is a genius that we didn't know was going to happen? You know what's funny is that with the success that some of these coaches have had, like Danny Sprinkle and Blake Anderson, Gary Anderson, and Matt Wells before that, Craig Smith before that, like this flash in the pan situation, I wouldn't be surprised. They make good hires when it comes to guys like that. And by the way, Nate Dreiling, if you have success at New Mexico State, you won the lottery in a way. Like there's no way a guy like that you want to. I think the reason it was probably an easy pick is because he has that background of just going, I'm going to go into this school. It's a group of 5 school. It's a little bit smaller, and I'm going to have success immediately. And that's what he did. And so I'm like crossing my fingers that he is able to get his feet under him and that they give him a little bit more time. I'm not saying that they need to make the hire. An interim head coach position is one that is hovered over, and it is going to be graded on a different scale. I think the good news is they'll give him a lot of slack to be able to say, we know that this was a difficult situation to get put into, but that also makes you wonder if they're even going to consider him for a long-term situation. I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not going to sit here and say what I think. What I'm not going to put thoughts in people's heads or say that I think I know what's going to happen. I don't. But I'm going to speculate here a little bit that Diana Sabo wants to make a big splash with this hire. Athletic directors, this is what defines their legacy. Making those hires. Nate Dreiling, not only is he dealing with all that pressure and all that kind of stuff, if he's never been a head coach before and then he's thrust in this situation, if this team doesn't absolutely kill it, he's looking for another job in December.
Sure.
That's just the reality of the situation, unfortunately. You took a job with a head coach that didn't even make it to the season. That's a tough spot to be in. So everyone here is in a tough spot. Everybody knows that a lot of this stuff is temporary, and that's a pretty tough thing to deal with. And that's just adds another layer to the difficulty of the situation, is players knowing that there's going to be a new head coach of our program in December, and the athletic director is going to go out and make that big hire that she wants to make and find the person that she wants to run this program moving forward, because that's what athletic directors want to do. This is how they're defined. This is how their success is determined, is how well do they hire coaches. If you miss more than you hit, you're probably not getting that next athletic director job or whatever it is that your aspirations are. So weird situation, difficult, tragic situation, all the words, all the descriptors. Utah State has it all, which is why it's going to be really fascinating to see how they respond and how they perform with all this stuff going on around them.
You have the opportunity that if you are able to make something happen with all of this surrounding you, if you're Nate Dreiling, that would be something that would absolutely – now I think you're going to have attrition no matter good or bad of a season. You're just going to have guys who are like, personally, I don't want to be here or whatever. But you will see – it's not just going to be wins and losses. It's going to be kind of the vibe in the locker room, all those things. And so, obviously, winning takes precedent. And if this team goes 8-4, everybody's going to look at each other and go, "Let's run it back with a season where we all know who we are here, and let's figure this thing out. Let's get guys in the transfer portal. Let's go to that level." Obviously, those things are all going to be a part of the conversation. And we haven't even gotten to the season yet. We're already talking about what the postseason could look like. I don't know how this group of young men and the coaching staff aren't just sitting in these meetings and in the back of their minds going, "We've been really freaking hosed, man. We've been dealt an absolute
How do you keep that
hand.
attitude from creeping in? That's really hard to do, and you can't blame them for being human and having to go through those thoughts, because they're hurting, and they feel like everything that they came there for has been ripped away. And that's a really unsettling feeling. I mean, you can all imagine. Anybody listening right now, if you go to work for a company and all of a sudden, 2 months later after you accept this job and you relocate your family, They fire your bosses and replace them with people that don't know you and don't trust you.
When it comes down to it, obviously Blake Anderson's the guy sitting down and interviewing Nate Dreiling, but Jerry Bovee's also highly involved in that, and he's been highly involved with these. I don't know if he was like in that room when they're making that decision, but when you say, a new athletic director wants to make a splash, you wonder if Nate Dreiling was even a part of that conversation, or if Nate Dreiling is, part of the quote-unquote old guard, even though he's 33 years old and he's never coached a second in Logan.
No, not at all.
If they look at him and go, we're going to kind of give you a shot here, but we're already on the national search, so to speak. That's a tough spot to be in too. It's like throw all your support behind him because you owe him at least that because of how things went down. And it's a nasty situation because they have to feel like that they are doing the right thing from the Title IX point of view, because there are all the things that happen in the background if they don't live up to those things in terms of potential lawsuits that they could be hit with. So they have to make sure, and I would assume that's why a lot of these. I would hope it's not just a bunch of personal beef of why you get rid of a group of a coach and then the deputy athletic director, that they look at it and they go, we're going to be facing some really rough roads here when it comes to a legal standpoint from potential victims who were buried, so to speak, or at least their situation was sort of run off or whatever might have happened. We don't even know some of those details except for that Blake Anderson had apparently made a phone call personally to a potential victim and the roommate of an athlete. And when you meddle at that level, that's where the school goes, we can't even get anywhere near that. And so you can see how they probably feel like they have the potential to say, we feel okay about making this firing, albeit if it is an uncomfortable thing for us. So the whole situation stinks for any of those Aggie fans out there, because it's going to end up being potentially your team getting set back a couple of seasons, if not more, which is the exact opposite of what you want. You just want to be able to say, hey, we're moving forward with this thing, and we're trying to get better as a team. And Utah State is always in that conversation of, they're not going to do that well, and they overperform. And this is one of those years where you go, these kids are not getting the fair shake. You know what I mean? After everything, especially with the loss of a teammate this last weekend. And so it's a bad deal. And I feel for those guys at Utah State, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about it more. And guess what? They got a bunch of freaking good athletes.
Yeah,
they
do. They got talent on the field.
And you hope they can keep them all.
They're capable of doing something special. I just worry that this is just too much.
Yeah.
The loss of a teammate, your head coach being fired, the way things went down, everything going on, the turmoil, the uncertainty, all that, just they're human beings. It's going to weigh on them. It's really going to be a tell of the character of that team, how they respond. I'm very curious to watch their season, and against a difficult schedule. They do host Utah, but that's not an easy task. They got USC on the schedule this year. They got Washington State on the schedule. They got really good games, and it's not going to be it's not going to be easy for them. Boise State obviously is on their schedule in conference play, so a lot of opportunity there, though, right? You have been given an opportunity with the schedule you have in place to go out there and do something and play for something and play for each other and do something memorable. If you want to send a message, or you want to respond to all this stuff, or you want to play for a teammate that lost his life, these are the moments. These are the human moments where you're inspired to do those things, and we will learn a lot about this team. It could end up being an incredible story to watch play out, but right now you're heartbroken for everybody involved.
Well, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to go on the program here. We're at Riverton City Park. Look, we got the Olympic rings out. You know what that means? This is a big deal. All right, we're the Olympic kickoff party. We're not calling it a Salt Lake got the Olympics party yet, okay? Because we're crossing our fingers. We're hoping that thing all goes down. I think we're all pretty hopeful that this is going to happen. But the Olympics, of course, and our entire team in the building, besides us, I think, got sent. Is this our largest contingency of people going to an Olympics probably ever?
No.
You don't think so?
Oh, no. We've sent armies in the past. We've sent five. We sent 5.
Yeah.
On this
Is that
trip.
where we're at right now? 5?
Same we did with Tokyo, but we've had times when we've sent 7, 8, 9, 10.
17, 12. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna keep our eyes on this thing. You can get your pictures taken down here, and we'll print them out for you. JJ brought his computer, his home computer. He hooked them up.
I got Microsoft Paint. I'm ready to go.
It'll be printed out on a dot matrix printer, but no problem. No, we got the legit pictures out. We're taking your pictures in front of the Olympic rings. We busted them out for a special Olympic kickoff party right here at Riverton City Park. Get your face painted. Are there otter pops over there? Did somebody else bring them on? No, we got them. All right, I'll take 14. No problem.
Yum.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got more to go. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This Uinta Golf Open Championship update is brought to you by Mountain Land Supply, Zions Bank, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, and Siegfried and Jensen. And now, Real Golf Radio's Brian Taylor.
All right, welcome on in, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. We are live from Riverton City Park in Riverton, Utah, for our Olympic kickoff party. Yeah, we got the whole crew out here, and yes, there is a face painting station. It looks like the line's getting kind of long. If you need to get me a Sharpie and start working on some of these faces, I'll do it. It's fine. I take tips too, no problem.
I bet you could come up with some phenomenal designs.
I know they're all. I saw that you did this stick figure family on my face. I'm really loving that. Yeah, so you can come down and get the real face painting artist, though, working on you. And we've got some cold drinks. We got the Otter Pops rolling. We've got all sorts of fun stuff going on. We'll take your picture in front of the Olympic rings, and Luann will print them out for you. You know why? Because she's a good person. This is all personally donated by her. Okay. The rings,
her printer and her
she
paper.
owns the rings too, technically, so it's a really good deal.
Well, she worked out a deal with NBC for those.
You know, come down and get your pictures in front of the official Olympic rings, the KSL Olympic rings that we've got out here at the park. So, and then get that picture printed off for you. In the meantime, yes, we had quite an interesting Open Championship, and for the second time this year, Xander Schauffele quietly. Getting great and having another amazing major tournament. Joining us on the program right now, Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio, 8 to 10 a.m. every Saturday right here on the KSL Sports Zone. BT, we don't talk about Xander Schauffele enough for a guy who won two major championships this year.
It's amazing what winning can do, right? I mean, I love this game. You know, you can go from let's rewind back to March and the Players' Championship, and it was Xander Schauffele who was looking to pick up a Players' Championship when who's that guy? Scotty Scheffler goes out and fires, a final round 64, I think it was, and just stole it away from him, hold out for eagle, and Xander was left answering the questions about how gutted he was and so close again, and all the Xander fans, decrying another missed opportunity. And then next thing you know, he's hoisting the Wanamaker Trophy and now the Claret Jug in the same season while he's preparing to waltz over to France and defend his gold medal in the Olympics. So, yeah, suddenly, it's like I said, it's amazing what a win or two will do. And Xander Schauffele is now making people question who's the player of the year with 4 weeks to go, Scotty Scheffler or Xander Schauffele.
That's pretty crazy, and it's a tribute to Xander that he's put himself in that conversation. But like you're saying earlier this year, we're having this conversation about how Xander Schauffele is the best player that's never won a major, and he's certainly blown that narrative out of the water. But is it fair that we judge these guys based on that? Is it fair that we judge how good these PGA golfers are, or even if they're on the LIV Tour, based on how many majors they won? Is that an unfair thing, or do you think that really is what defines a golfer's legacy?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think it's something that you could argue. But, if you have a guy that has – Brooks Koepka's a really good example. He has, 8 – I'm stretching here – 8 or 9 wins, and 5 of them are majors. Or you've got a guy with, let's say pick a guy that's got 16 wins but 1 major. Which career are you taking? What would you rather have? It's an interesting idea. ever since Jack Nicklaus started winning off major championships the way he did, and the Grand Slam became a modern Grand Slam became a thing, it started to become the way that the players were measured for greatness. How many major championships have you won? I think you have to win at least one, and multiple majors really validates you as a legit, great player. You need some wins in there. Brooks Koepka certainly has a Hall of Fame, career. Again, Billy Casper won. Bob's dad won 51 times. That speaks a lot, 51 times.
Yeah.
But he has the three majors to go with it, right? 2 U.S. Opens and a Masters. And so I just think if Billy had won 51 times and never won a major, there would always be that asterisk a little bit. Well, he won 51 times, but he never won the big one, so to speak. And I just think you sort of have to do that to validate your career. And so that's what Xander's done. Is it fair? I don't know. I don't even know if that's the right terminology. It's kind of the way that the tour game and the pros at the highest level measure themselves, quite frankly.
Well, and you win the claret jug and you win a Masters jacket. If you do those two things in your career, the people don't question your greatness. But it is kind of funny how Xander winning the PGA Championship. People go, well, that's a fun major.
Oh, that was cute.
Isn't it? I mean, I don't know. That's a way that people kind of look at it, though, right? But when you win the oldest trophy in golf, then people go, oh, maybe we should. It's not like Xander Schauffele sneaking in under the radar, but at the same time, it is an interesting point that we go straight from, oh, yeah, he won the PGA. That's a little different than winning the Masters and winning the U.S. Open, because we love talking about Bryson DeChambeau's U.S. Open win. We love talking about the Masters every year. And when he won the British Open, there were a lot, the Open Championship, I think a lot of people went, oh, yeah, I forgot he did win that earlier this year.
I think one of the coolest things that Xander said about winning, he won the Scottish Open a couple of years ago, and now he has won the Open Championship, the Claret Jug, as you just pointed out. And he said, it validates that my game can travel. I think that's pretty cool. When you think about the kind of conditions, and I absolutely loved what Troon presented, by the way. I was standing up and applauding at the end of it. I mean, what a bunch of storylines. And to see Xander step up and take it amidst the challenges that the weather and the golf course was producing while others were faltering and, others were trying to make a charge. And it was just really, really good stuff. You have so many things to overcome. I love Augusta National. I love the Masters. It's my favorite major championship. And it is sort of the opposite, right? It's everything's perfect, and you just have to go out and execute, and you have to be better than the next guy. The Open's a little bit more get your elbows dirty a bit. It's a little bit more gritty, and it requires you to hit different shots. It doesn't have to be pretty, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to get it done, and guys go about it doing it differently. I mean, we saw drivers into par threes. We saw irons off the tee on 650-yard par fives. I mean, that kind of stuff you just don't see every day. So I think it's a real testament to a guy that won the fun Wanamaker Trophy, as you put it, but also the gritty Claret Jug. I mean, that's some pretty heady stuff he's doing right now.
Yeah. Well, BT, we talked about how tough Royal Troon is going to be, and any links course is, but especially there. We saw the weather wreak havoc on Saturday. I know the conditions weren't the same on Sunday, but just how remarkable is Xander Schauffele's final round, a bogey-free 65, and to finish the way he did on that back nine? I mean, how historic was that? How blown away were you watching him make that incredible run?
Well, like I said, I think it's cool when you see a guy that just steps up and takes it. There was a lot of sparring going on the front nine, right? And, yeah, the weather conditions weren't the same. We talked about Henrik Stenson back in 2016 firing a final round 63 to beat Phil Mickelson. Phenomenal, like out-of-this-world stuff, right? He and Phil were so far ahead of the rest of the field. But in this case, where everybody was battling, and for him to just all of a sudden put the pedal down, shift gears, and put everybody in his rearview mirror on that back nine, hitting some flawless shots, the only birdie on 12, which was the hardest hole on the golf course, and then just shifting it, making a couple more down the stretch. To me, it was super impressive. And he was asked afterwards, where does this rank? And he's like, he didn't hesitate. It's the best round he's ever played. And given the conditions, and he said he told his caddy, I don't know if you saw this exchange, but he told his caddy, I think on 18, that he was feeling pretty calm. And his caddy said afterwards he was ready to throw up. The caddy. So I mean, that's kind of how the pressure, and I marvel at guys like Xander and what we've seen from Scotty this year and the great players where they can just get into a calm in the middle of the highest pressure pack situation. And to me, that's why you watch sports, to be able to see people do what is really impossible for most of us. Just to be able, I can tell you, even if you were a really good player, the emotions and the pressure that you would be feeling in that moment would probably cripple you. We saw that. Billy Horschel probably should have won that thing. I mean, he was in great position, but he's never really done it before. And that's not a knock on Billy, but the next level guys have the ability to put that pressure behind them or let it fuel them and find that calm so that they can execute. And that's what Xander did.
Friday was one of those brutal days where we had, I think we had Bob on with us, and we were talking a little bit about how brutal it was. And then later in the day I saw this, I'm sure you probably saw it, BT, but it was every worst score on the course that day across the entire Friday, and they just went hole by hole, the worst scores on every hole, and the score ended up 128. So if you go to freaking all the worst scores, and then even more brutally, I thought it was nice that the guys at the Golf Channel were like, they didn't mention who it was. I thought you probably obviously would have been easy to find, but 13 and 14, a par 4 and a par 3 respectively. The two worst scores were a 9 and a 9, and it was the same guy who shot the back-to-back 9s on those. And I thought, you know what? If there is a course that could show you that the pros, that could trick you into thinking that your game isn't that far off, is adding up all the worst scores together on a Friday for a 128 compared to what you could have gotten. But so then when you look at the 65 by Xander Schauffele on Sunday, it just is even more impressive. And that's why the Open is amazing, because days like Friday, it chewed up and spit out some of the best golfers in the world, and it's like, see you next year. Good luck. But that's why we love it.
Yeah, that's why we love it. And another good example of that is Justin Thomas. On the front nine Friday shot 45, and on Saturday shot 31. Yeah. 14 shots different on the same 9 holes, one day after the next. That's the kind of stuff you get. That's why we talk about early in the week. Tough to predict because you don't know what side of the draw and the weather you're going to get. The thing I will say, there was a little bit of a favor towards the draw, but for the most part, everybody had the same challenges with the weather as everybody else did. So, like I said, I know there's some out there, if they're like, hey, you weren't there, I got the worst of it, and I'm sure. But generally speaking, I think it was equally difficult for everybody. So, great stuff. And by the way, if you went out there under those same conditions, scratch player, could you beat the 128? I'd be curious.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think a lot of pros will go, I can't remember who it was, but I remember listening to you guys maybe a couple of years ago where it was like a guy going out with a who shoots a 90 on a Muni course at the Masters would probably be in that 120 range, just because of how difficult the golf course is set up. People don't understand that. They hear, oh, Justin Thomas shot a 45 on Friday. Well, so did I. On a front nine. Yeah, it's like, you know what? The Davis Park is a little different than Royal Troon.
Davis Park.
So I think that in that sense, but again, that's why people spend thousands of dollars, BT, on golf clubs, and they go, I think I can do this, because they see scores like that.
I can see what they do with that. Justin Thomas uses that. I'll use it. But you think about that. If the caliber of a two-time major champion can go out there and shoot a 45 for 9 holes in those conditions. Honestly, be honest with yourself. What are you going to shoot out there? Yeah. I'm not saying that if you played Justin Thomas and he gave you 5 aside or 10 aside that you might not sneak up and beat him one time, but you just have to ask yourself, if he's doing that as a 2-time major winner, you might want to, you're just happy you don't have to do that for a living, because it's brutal.
I'm an 18 handicap, and my son is a single-digit handicap. That's already embarrassing enough for me to go out with him. So I don't. It's not fun. I already know what the score is going to be.
You mean it's embarrassing when you beat him?
Yeah, for him. No, you know what? Those are some of the worst meltdowns. Is when he loses to me. Because for that to happen, I got to put together a pretty good day. He's got to have a crap day. And when Dad can beat a kid, that's a good feeling.
It's a good thing. Yeah,
it doesn't happen that often.
That's all we have left to hang our hats on. We're not beating anybody else.
I'm not beating him one-on-one on the basketball court, and it's very, very, very few times am I able to beat him on the golf course nowadays. So it's fun. BT, we love listening to you guys. You guys do a phenomenal job. Thanks again for another great year of major coverage. And you know what? we're going to call you and talk about not just the majors coming up here toward the end of the season here when we get closer to the FedEx playoffs, things like that, and we're going to be excited about that for you as well because we love talking to you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Feelings mutual. Love to do it anytime. And, yeah, so we've got a few weeks left, and we got playoffs. And we got President's Cup, and then we got, PGA Tour coming to Utah. So there's going to be some things we can check in on for sure.
Awesome. Absolutely. All right, there you go. BT, we appreciate it. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. Stay with us. Weekend Warriors right around the corners, right here. We're at Riverton City Park here. We're doing the Olympic kickoff. Can we even use the word Olympics? The games kickoff. We've been in so many meetings where we've been threatened with how much we're going to get in trouble.
We need an attorney sitting next to you.
Let's get our general counsel in the building.
It's going to be a long 3 weeks for us trying to figure out what we can and cannot say.
Yeah, but we'll call it an Olympics kickoff, and we're asking people to come down, grab something cold to drink, get yourself an Otter Pop, get your face painted, and hang out with us. We got more to go right around the corner of 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. We are at Riverton City Park. The Olympic rings have been put in place here at the park, and we got some people in line to get their faces painted. Olympic themes abounding, by the way, on the face paint. I thought it would have been like a bunch of Spider-Man.
It's Olympic week, Alex.
I know.
We're excited about that.
Well, you can get Spider-Man. He's just going to be on the parallel bars. On the uneven ones.
Then you combine both, which is great.
Yeah, that's good. So you can come down, hang out. At
Revitalating two trademarks.
Yeah. Luann's like freaking out, bro. Did you say the word?
Now the Disney lawyers are coming after.
Did you say the word Olympics or you're toast? So here's the deal. We've got some cold drinks. We've got some Otter Pops. We've got the face paint going on. You can also get your picture in front of the Olympic rings, and then we'll print the picture out for you. Make a magnet out of it, whatever. Look, if you want this to be your family photo, bring the crew down.
It is an Olympic year.
Look, we are.
Riverton City Park is beautiful.
I am all about saving. I'm all about saving dough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring all the kids down in like the full denim outfits. Everybody's got the full, bring it in. Let's go. We'll do a full family photo for you. Why not? Bring everybody in. Let's do it. All right. The Weekend Warriors brought to you as always by the folks at Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning. Weekend Warriors, Gillette Heating and Air. Right now, get seasonal maintenance done for only $59. And I'll tell you what, that's a good thing to have too if you're in the dead of this heat here and you want to make sure you get your whole unit going and doing well. Call Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit GilletteHVAC.com to make an appointment. That's GilletteHVAC.com. Okay. So here's the deal. I'm going to bring something up over the weekend. The entire South Sudan's men's basketball team almost beating Team USA. I don't know if you can count that as a Weekend Warriors because they ended up losing. By the way, what's up with us in close wins?
They did it again today
against Germany. Was Dirk on the team?
No. Not even Dirk, and still had a hard time.
They had a hard time against Germany. It was like LeBron.
The Germans.
It was I guess Franz Wagner was probably on the team.
I think. Yeah. Let me look at the box score while you're talking about it.
I'm almost sure. And if Franz Wagner's on the team, then guess what? He probably led the Germans in scoring. But Team USA.
I got the stats right here.
What do we have?
Franz Wagner indeed was, and he indeed led them in scoring with 16. Daniel Theis, who was a former Celtic, 11 points. Dennis Schroeder, who was their point guard, 13 points, 9 assists. Mo Wagner comes off the bench for them. Those are the most recognizable names on the German roster.
92-88. So a 4-point win. The Team USA was down almost the entire second half.
So basically, the United States men's basketball team almost lost to the Orlando Magic. Not good.
Oh, no. We do have issues from deep, is what I've been told. South Sudan, I think, outscored Team USA 42-21 from beyond the arc. South Sudan winning that game, I almost just wish it would have happened so that we could have had a 30 for 30 documentary that would have come out of it for sure, or whatever. Here's the thing. I know these are Olympic tune-ups.
They don't even count.
I know, but I don't like any of it. Like, if we end up with a bronze medal at the end of this thing with LeBron and Jason Tatum and the entire crew getting together, look, we basically have – everybody wants a gold medal for Team USA. Every one of these guys knows how important it is. I know the rest of the world's gotten better at basketball. I know it. But for the time being, can we at least enjoy this, that we can know for sure that we're the best team in the world at basketball? Come on. And there you go.
How about LeBron James at near age 40 playing like he's 20 again?
Well, basically having to bail Team USA out of every freaking game. Yeah. No, that last with 8 seconds left, that layup was awesome. But yeah, it was late game heroics by LeBron again. All right. Hercules Credit Union brings you your Hercules Hero of the Week. How do you be a part of this? Well, you can nominate the Hercules Hero of the Week by just going to KSLSports.com/contest. If there is a youth sports volunteer in your neck of the woods who does an amazing job, we want to hear about it. You nominate them on KSLSports.com/contest, and we will read off those nominated winners every Thursday like we do, JJ, and guess what you get? You get a gift card courtesy of Hercules Credit Union. You also get a $200 voucher for Beehive meals. So nominate that person who deserves that type of recognition in your neck of the woods. KSLSports.com/contest. That's KSLSports.com/contest. We'll come back. We got more to go around the corner. Stick with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.